I'm ready to call this meeting to order. The Harbor Shellfish Advisory Board, November 7th, 2017, 5:03 p.m. We have a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And I don't have the minutes,
Okay.
so we'll push those off till.
All right. Chairman's report. Dave Franzuto's retirement party at the Anglers Club seemed like a wonderful event, and I think it was successful, and he got a lot of wonderful presents, and just a reminder to any board members who haven't been able to forward $26 to Mr. Brace, please keep that in mind, that we committed to that. Bill, I don't know if you were here for that or not. If not,
We got a map from Ryan Mitchell Association. A map that was drawn in 1945. It says, what was it, the Sailor's Guide to Nantucket Harbor.
Really?
It's a really old, cool map, and then we got a frame and presented it to him at that thing
good.
that they put on for him on the. I think it was $26
Right.
per person, and Libby kicked in $50. So.
Thank you.
another note, which isn't on the chairman's report, but I was looking forward, and I can see that I will not be available to be here on November 21st. So if there's any thoughts on that, any other board members who think they will not make it.
I won't be here. Well, no, wait. I will be here, but I won't be around to do the agenda with you. So.
All right. I'm just wondering if we'd know far enough ahead of time whether we'd have a quorum or not. Maybe we'll talk later on, recapping items for the next meeting and revisit the next meeting then.
I know I'll be off on one.
Okay. All right. So we'll revisit that near the end of the meeting. Marine Department report.
Can you hold up for a minute?
Okay.
I had a couple announcements.
Sorry. Yes.
Okay, so this is something that Rob O'Neill, I think, told us about, but just as a reminder, the Department of Public Works is going to host a public information session regarding the landfill groundwater monitoring program on Thursday, November 9th at 6 p.m. in this room.
Can you repeat the time and date?
The time is 6 p.m. The date is November 9, so that's this Thursday. And it's the landfill groundwater monitoring program. This has your name all over it, Andy.
Thank you.
And then one more thing. At the beginning of the year, in the middle of January, we got I, still as chairman, got an email from Erica Mooney at Town Administration telling us to all speak into the mics so that people could hear us, because the meetings were being streamed. And then about 2 weeks ago, I got contacted by a local engineer who said he likes to watch the SHAB meetings, or he's interested in SHAB, and was looking for the stream and wasn't able to find it. And so I contacted Greg Tivnan at Town Administration, Assistant Town Manager, and he said we weren't being streamed live. Have never been. And I said, well, is it a possibility that we could be streamed live, since we have some people now that are interested? And the next contact I had was from Lisa Getter at NCTV, asking me if we wanted the meetings to be filmed. So I'm sure that Greg got a hold of her. So I'm just putting that out there. Do we want that? Do we want somebody here filming us? We want that out there.
All right. I would have no objections to that. If there's people who want to see the meeting that can't come here and see it in person, like if there's other meetings that are on the television, why not ours, I suppose? Anybody else comment on that?
while the subject is on the table.
I'm not trying to understand the difference when you were saying streaming live versus...
Streaming live is when the camera is running and it's being put out onto the airwaves right now.
Okay.
So the selectmen's meetings are streamed live. And,
Yeah, I understand that.
yeah,
Okay.
and then so a recording would be they'd make a tape and then run it later.
But they would run it at specific times?
Correct.
Okay.
Also, Andy, I've got to leave at 6 o'clock, so
Okay.
could I impose upon Fritz to take whatever notes might be needed after I leave? And you can just shoot me an email. Okay.
If nobody else shows up, we'll lose a quorum when you go.
That's right. I'm sorry.
That's all right. So moving ahead, if there's no more comments, Sheila, please.
Okay, so we have pulled all the buoys, put some ice buoys in, and Nantucket for the Scalpers. We also left the buoys in Fulvis Harbor so that people could, the Scalpers that go out of there can use it. And since the ramp is going to be closed, that would be a good safe haven if we do have some type of forecasting storm. They can go up and put a boat up in Fulvis, so we left the buoys in so everybody can find their way in to do that. The ramp project is underway. They are not currently here, but they are currently in control of the ramp. So it is closed. It's open, but just because they haven't closed it yet. We don't want to tell people, oh, the ramp's going to be open until such and such a date because the contractor owns the ramp right now. And I don't want to say, oh, it's going to be open till next Tuesday and then have the contractor show up here Friday and close it all up and have people getting tracked. So as far as people are concerned, the ramp is closed because it's not under our control, it's under the control of the contractor. They do believe that they are going to be ahead of schedule. That's their hope anyways, and they're pretty confident with it. It's the same group that did Town Pier, when Town Pier had the problem in 2014. And they were ahead of schedule then, so. And it's supposed to be back open by January 15th. We still have, we're gonna put another thing in the paper. There's still some moorings in the water that are in the scallop areas. So I'm writing down who they are. We're gonna contact the people and, we need to make sure that we ticket them and because it is a bylaw regulation, and if it's in a scallop area, it needs to be moved by October 15th. So we are working on that. We're letting the scalpers tie up the town pier. We're not charging them for that this year because of the ramp project. The only thing with it, it's going to be a problem is if we do get a storm, they're going to have to move the boat basin in. The boat basin's not going to offer the same deal. But they do have the option of moving up the pole if they want to. And I do think that, they're going to be a lot happier when the ramp is fixed. It's just unfortunate that it's the only time that the state would let us complete the project. And they tried for waivers, they tried everything else, and it needs to happen. We have boats in the water. We have 2 patrol boats still in the water in town. We have 1 patrol boat out in Nantucket, so that we're ready to assist the scalpers if they did need some type of assistance. We have not received any request for assistance now. We're going to send the headhunter back over to Crosby to get winterized and worked on, but it's not going to be nearly as expensive as it was last year. That's pretty much it. We're just winding things down, closing things up, getting ready for the winter. And then like right after Christmas, we'll start advertising for help and all that stuff.
Are you at liberty, Sheila, to report any more on the Dwayne Duggan vessel?
That boat, we're scheduled for a hearing
Now, after reading the newspaper article on it several weeks ago, they mentioned that in one paragraph it mentioned that you had been, or he has received some violation notices, but in another paragraph it said there were no environmental concerns. And
that was a misquote by the paper. I didn't do the interview with the newspaper, and when I spoke to people about it, they say that was a misquote by the paper. Because there definitely is environmental concerns, there's definitely safety concerns, and there's definitely concerns of it becoming the next Miss China. And the paper said none of that was the case, but all that is the case, and that will definitely be heard when those were here.
And just to clarify, when I pull up to Francis Street and come to a stop at Washington Street and look straight out into the center of the harbor between, say, First Bend and Pimney Point, that's the boat that's
Yes.
we're speaking about.
Yes.
Okay. And is he still living aboard? Do you know?
No. They haven't been living aboard it, but, I think he slept on it a few times, but they have not been living aboard it. It is still in violation, though, because it's been in the harbor for more than 48 hours without permission of the harbor master and without going to a warrant, which is in our bylaws.
And did he ever call you out for a pump out?
He did not call us out. We went out and did one, and then he came to the dock and did another.
The boat has its own power.
I saw him both.
Okay. Is it on a mooring or an
It's
anchor?
not. It's on anchor, and that's what the violation is. So every day he's on anchor is a violation.
Okay. Sheila, if you could stay, I'm going to maybe switch the agenda around a little bit to move a couple of old business items to the top that you may be helpful with some wisdom. Is that okay?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Any other questions from board members for Sheila?
Nope.
Thank you, Sheila.
You're welcome.
Natural Resources Report.
Sure. We are in the process right now of just kind of starting through all of the things. The hatchery is pretty much shutting down for its little kind of midwinter cleaning, break, repair assessment, especially after the first full year of the new remodeled structure. I know they were sitting out the last group of oysters that they were holding from the hatchery today, and that's the last set of actual animals we have at the hatchery. So we'll start breaking down a little bit, and then come after the first of the year, probably be refiring up our algae cultures to get an early start on the season. So they're moving into kind of the 2 months of fixing and maintenance that need to go on there, and some heavy duty cleaning. But they had a pretty successful season. They're kind of still tallying up the numbers after the sitting today for everything that they did. But I can say definitively they had pretty good success and improved higher numbers than before in scallops, and then also added in number of successful oyster spawns. Did some work with clams, so I think maybe hard-shell clams may move into the regular rotation next year as well. So they're kind of ramping up things that are going on there. We're hoping to do some development of the back deck to enhance our grow-out facilities to maybe hold things a little bit longer and do some things that are there. And upgrade some of the electric that wasn't included in the original building remodel as it was focused on the building itself. So that's what's going on there. We've completed our water sampling for the year already for our TMDL compliance. We're waiting for our final results to get back on that. We're hoping to have at least a kind of a preliminary report out again right around the first of the year for people to kind of compare to last year and give people information on their ponds and harbors for their water quality. Just anecdotally, it doesn't look like right now, without the last couple months coming in, that anything really got worse. It's like everything needs a hell of a behind, and that's good to see that you're not seeing any more degradation from what's there from year to year. But again, we're still waiting for the last kind of 2 months to come back to really trend that forward and see what went on. Looking at the summer, I'm trying to what else? The pot openings got delayed. We had issues with contractors. Our original contractor got no longer wanted to do the openings, and we had some trouble procuring a new one. And we have that problem solved, so we're hoping in the next week to get those open and let that flushing occur. And we apologize for the delay. Our permit normally runs out the end of October, and we got an extension for engineers to make sure that we get it open in the early part of November. So we're not too off schedule for performance. It's been under significant impact as far as water temperature and things go with the weather holds. That will be coming soon, and we have kind of a little email list that we keep now, but as soon as we get those dates set, we'll send that out to interested parties and Peter on that list. Maybe some other people that are there, but Ratty let the whole board know as well. But that's coming forward. What else is directly going on? College season has started. I know Sheila talked about it briefly. Early take, the fleet's been in pretty early comparatively to the last few years. We're seeing guys in as early as 8:45 on a pretty regular basis in some spots. They look pretty good, and the guys are doing pretty well. And the complaints about the season so far have been so that's pretty good. So we'll take it for what we can get. But again, we've only had a week now as of tomorrow for fishing. So we'll see how it goes. But everyone has been good. We've gotten a lot of good positive feedback from recreational season. We had a lot of feedback that people felt that it was better than in the last 2 or 3 years. So personally, I did pretty well looking for just to get my bushel per week. Was able to do that pretty regularly, and that's a bit of an improvement from the year before. One of the projects we're working on the hatchery is trying to partner up a little bit with UMass to do some form of marking on hatchery reared scallops to really start to assess wild population versus hatchery raised scallops that were released to kind of assess those different populations and see what's going on out going forward. But that's just a project that Tara has just started talking with UMass about. One thing I was going to say, and I wouldn't have said it in announcements, but there's no one else here. One of the other larger projects that kind of this group should be interested in is the town is working on a hazard mitigation plan and a coastal resiliency plan. They're 2 separate plans. They're 2 very different things. I know that a coastal resiliency and hazard mitigation sound like they should be connected. They are, but they're different. But one of the things the town has put out is a hazard mitigation plan survey for people. You go to the town website, there's a link to that survey. I want to say it's about 30 questions, and they're just looking for public input on what people are aware about hazard mitigation, what people have seen, what they think are the most important things and priorities, if there are areas that people are concerned about. We're just trying to encourage people to take that survey because it helps kind of set a framework for putting the plan together. The plan is kind of put in a rough draft form, put it back in front of the public and say, this is kind of where we're headed. What do you think? And we can make some changes as we go to that plan. But that's something that's going to directly speak to one of the good examples of these all the time is hazard mitigation. Is how a structure like the town pier can get back open and running after a natural disaster or something like that, and how the town can better prepare for something like that. Or really great example that we've had, obviously, in the last couple of weeks is the breakthrough of Hidden Creek and how we're dealing with the long-term impacts that may or may not be happening there from going over the bridge. a little bit more of a long-term look about how the community is set up to respond and recover from these disasters, as the mitigation is more trying to prevent the impacts of those things up front and the two set of information. Any input that we can get is valuable going forward. And I just happy to take any questions.
Through you, Mr. Chairman, who's the new contractor for the ponds?
Right now, we're going to have to put it back out to bid for the 3-year program. But it looks like we're going to be using Final Touch Construction for just this singular pond opening. They kind of kick the tires on everybody, and they're going to give us the best price. And Toscano's been doing it for years and years, so unfortunately, they're not wanting to do it anymore because they are the one slammed with work and have more than they know what to do with. So we'll be spending some time with that contractor to talk about how to do it and monitoring it, and the contractor knows that through this opening, they'll be out with someone with them, and when it's agreed that the opening is ready to go and it gets opened up, that'll be constructed to the satisfaction of our staff that's out there, because we're losing a little bit of institutional knowledge by having to switch companies. So,
Does through you, Andy,
Yes.
does the town have its own excavator, and could the town do it?
we've talked about it. The town does not own its own excavator at this point, but it's something that has been discussed. But at this point, it's not. It won't get the ponds open for this fall, and then we'll have to do a regular RFP or just regular bid request for the pond openings. And we usually try to do it in a 3-year cycle for next spring. So, coming up.
You think you'll be opening any of them either of them this week, or it'll be next week?
At this point, it's probably next week.
Yeah.
We've also had some bad luck ever since the end of October, once we had the big southwest wind that opened the other week. The weather is really not going to overwhelm pretty good to open the ponds. So probably getting later in the year is better this time. So, yeah, we'll get up.
Jeff, is there any chance that the previous contractor's excavator operator will share his wisdom with Final Touch?
Oh, they definitely will talk. I mean, it's something that they said they're happy to do. They just,
Okay.
just choosing not to do it anymore. That's totally understandable.
Yeah.
Power of the machine.
Mhm.
Yeah, and it's something that we've all participated in. I mean, I can honestly say that at this point, I figured out the other day that this pond opening will be my 23rd that I'll have been at. So I've been to a lot of them and supervised a lot of them. So we have a pretty good group of knowing kind of what we're looking for and explanation for what's there. We like to take photos and videos too, so that's something we can share with them. I'm pretty confident that with our staff present on the site for the entire process, that we can get a channel that will maximize the chance for opening from that aspect. Sometimes weather is always cooperative or something unforeseen happens, but I'm very confident we can open the ponds for the time period that we're looking for if everything sets up well. I don't think a chance to do it.
Thank you.
In 3 days of this weather, the channel will be fun.
Any other questions for Jeff? Thank you, Jeff. All right. In old business, I'd like to move forward because it's more kind of like new business. Bill, if you have, what you wanted to discuss about the cruise ship anchorage, I'd love to hear your presentation.
Should I go out there or should I stay here?
I believe you can stay here.
Okay, if you use the mic.
Sure.
Okay, and Sheila, I'm glad you're here because this would obviously involve you. I'm through my father's estate, a part owner in Small Ship Adventures, which would be I forget the name of the boats, but you've seen them come in and everything. And one of the things they desired is a possibility if they could stay overnight. The problem is their anchors are hard to hold, and they're constantly resetting them, And I was wondering if maybe we could work it out where, well, I just suggested maybe if they were to put in one or two moorings that the town could own, and they would lease it when they came in, so it would possibly be money for you at the end for the Marine Department. I don't know if you can. I don't know how that all works. That's why I need your input on that. And I thought initially, I was thinking of maybe doing a 10,000-pound block, which we could build in our shipyard. But that's probably not what you want. You want a screwed. No, I don't know why that. What kind of mooring do you think would be the best down in there in the deep water there? And
Well, I don't even know what the process would be for us to do that, to grant them, for about that size.
Yeah.
I think there's pluses to it. The pluses are that they're not anchoring in a different spot, getting the chain scar in different places all the time.
Right.
So there are pluses
Right.
to it.
Right.
I agree with that. I just, I'm gonna have to research what the process would be to, who to ask. I guess we'd have to go through, I'd have to check the town council, because it's like, we've never done it before. So I don't really know where we would even start with it. And again, I'm not saying it's a bad idea. I kind of think it's a good idea. I think the only problem is the anchorage is so crowded as it is.
Right.
But that's going to have to be something that I got to do some research into, because I don't want to give you some bogus information.
Right.
But I will certainly research it and get it back to you guys by the next time you guys meet, probably the one in December. Give me time to figure out what the process would be, how they'd apply, who would grant it, what we would need. If like a 10,000-pound block, to me, is better. We're getting away from helixes.
Okay.
Away from things that screw into the car.
Okay.
Because scallopers or anybody like that, I mean, you probably won't be scalloping there because it's deep water, but you don't want anybody getting hung down and stuff.
Right.
So, that's the concern with that.
Well, some of the initial ideas I had as
Like I was sure a 10,000-pound block was going to be enough for that.
you think so?
I don't know. Like the NB buoy is held by a 25,000-pound block,
Wow.
and that's not.
I guess a 10,000-pound block. Wow. I don't know.
Yeah, and the ones that we set before I got here, that one that's out of Juliet, that's a 40,000-pound block we put out there for.
Okay.
for
Well, maybe
fishing, so.
maybe 10,000-pound block wouldn't do it, but I was
Well,
thinking.
maybe the bridal 210s, I don't know, we could get to that, but it would definitely have to be blocks of some type. And, yeah, that's right.
Well, my ideas with this is that, the town would own it and control it and get an income from it. My sister's concern was that, if they pay for the whole thing, they would like preference in using it. They very gladly would rent and give the town income from it, so you would be able to get an income from it, like maybe $500 a night, something like that. You get a good income that could really help your department. They'd pay and put the whole thing in. My sister started to get nervous when I talked about putting in a screwed one, because she said, well, it's going to cost $10,000 or $20,000. Hey, she's starting to get nervous. I don't know what the price of these things are. Pardon?
We'll stay clear of the helix.
Right.
But let me do some research and I'll get back to you in the December meeting.
Okay.
I'll just run it by everybody I can think of.
Right.
And see what they say.
Okay. And then other concerns, is that and I've talked to my sister repeatedly about this, and that's, as far as if they're going to be overnight, I was going to ask that they pay you to go down and put a lock on their holding tank. So no way any discard getting out there. And I've talked to them repeatedly. They say they've been extremely careful about that. They pay huge money to always pump it out. They can go, a full boat can go over 3 days without pumping out, and usually they've been run like a half or 2/3. They can go for 7 days on that. That is, though, a real concern. I've been hesitant to ever bring it up here, but I know we're really careful about that. And also when our cruise lines come in and we try to pour money into the town, we've been careful. We don't come into the town pier and use our bathrooms. We go into some of the other places. We hire the there's a guy that runs out with the boat to pick people up. We try to give as much as we can. The other guys are not there. They originally was a captain that started with them and went and split off from our company and copied basically everything we've done, and they've cut a lot of corners and are hard to deal with.
But they can't be discharging even if it's during the day.
Absolutely. I mean, that's why I say I don't want any possibility to happen. That's why I say we'll pay you to come out, put a lock on there, and when we leave, you can take the lock off. So there's no way ever could it happen, because I saw a plume one time from the other cruise line, and they were tied to the straight wharf, and the plume of crap went all the way over to the steamship dock.
Hey, you should call me for stuff like that.
Well, it's a long time ago, Sheila, but still, I was mortified.
Yeah, I was mortified too.
So,
But I'd be more mortified if you saw it didn't tell me. Because we can't stop them. I know it's 1,000 years ago, so
Right.
we'll just talk about it. But if it's current day, you gotta call me, because
absolutely
we
right.
can stop them from coming
Well,
to the harbor forever.
Right, I realize that, and that's why I say, overnight there's got to some guaranteed safeguard. It could never possibly happen. So,
Yeah, well, I'll definitely research.
all right, great, wonderful. We want to come. We want to work with the community. We want to pour money in. I don't know if you've noticed the difference between the cruise lines, but
I do.
right. Thank you. And
Well, Sheila, these, just for my own clarification, when these cruise ships come in, you feel they're in deep enough water that it doesn't affect where scallopers may go? Is there eelgrass in that water, and is it a scallop bed type area? Because it seems to me they're close to the first bend, which is
They're close, but they're on the side of the line, the correct side of the line. We've never had a problem with them going on the other side of that line. They usually stay in that because of their probably night orders from the captain. They don't want to be in less than 20-something feet of water.
Right.
So they stay in that channel. There's a guzzle that runs up there that's 25, 30 feet.
Right.
And that's where they stay. And that's where they anchor. Most boats don't want to anchor there because the current moves through there so quickly. They have the talent and the anchor power and everything else to go there. I'm not saying that there's not chain star, but they are in the legal anchorage.
okay.
They're not on Hussey Shoal, and they're not in, past First Point. They're very careful about that, and they're really, really good about it. Like both cruise lines, especially are very conscientious about like why we don't want them there. They get it. They get that it's a shellfish area. They get all that stuff, and they want to stay in good with us. So we haven't had problems. In fact, American Cruise Lines a lot of times stays outside in the corner of the bay and they run their launch down the channel. If it's a nice day, they don't even come into the harbor for that reason. They don't want to cause problems.
Okay.
But one thing I was amazed about, even though in that 20, 30 feet of water, there's a lot of eelgrass. I was amazed when I saw the anchors come up with eelgrass on it that deep. I was just really surprised.
Yeah.
So I think, if you had something that, you could set it up all stainless steel, it's going to last forever, you get it tied down, float the chain so nothing goes on the bottom, you know what I mean? We can figure it out so that there's no scarring at all. Right.
Any other board members on this subject?
No?
Bill, to continue with your issues, the local commercial fishing dragger survival, anything in this portion of the article that you may want to have any comments from Sheila?
Not really. I just can say.
All right. Maybe if you just stay through old business. I don't know if we have something new on eco-friendly moorings, Fritz. That Sheila may wanna...
because Sheila's here and Jeff are here, I guess I'd just like to say I was hoping that we could make for next year some progress in thinking about or implementing an alternative to the traditional chain mooring in shellfish areas to reduce mooring scars. And I'm not talking about, so when eco-friendly moorings, I'm not saying helix moorings and, but something that will, devices, and I know from the materials that I've seen, I think there are different types, rubber mechanisms, floats, piston type things, but whether I'd like to see if we can move forward, and I'd like to be in a position to be able to make a recommendation to the Board of Selectmen that we move forward with some sort of a program for that. I have invited several of the mooring handlers on 3 different occasions to come here and talk about it, and they've never come. I don't know what to make of that, whether that is just inertia, or whether they're against it, whether they don't care, or they just don't want to bother to come to the meetings. But I'd like to hear whatever your thoughts are as to what we might be able to do without too much trouble.
The mooring handlers it's not that they're not interested, it's that we're having a hard time getting any one of these eco-friendly people to show us how you're supposed to recover them when they're not attached to a helix mooring. Because the point is the customer base, the people out there are not going to go to spend all this kind of money if there's no way to recover them. So I've been working with this guy who came out here. He gave us a demonstration, and he promised me up and down and sideways that there was a way to make it happen. And I was like, you got to send me the video so I can sell it to the mooring handlers. I know I can because we have that type of relationship. But he's got to let me see it. He wants to talk to them one-on-one and offer them all kinds of business deals that they're not interested in. And I think that that's what they're afraid of about coming to a meeting about it, because they're afraid that they're going to enter into a contract with this guy and then lose a lot of their customer base. So I've got to encourage him or find somebody else that makes something that's friendly. I promise you that it's first and foremost it's something that I'm working on, especially this time of year when we're not as slammed. Because we want nothing more, and Natural Resources wants nothing more than to find a solution to this that's economical enough to get to get the voters to bite on it and to get the voters to play. They understand the importance of the shellfish. They understand all of that. They get it, but a little bit of it is that we spend a lot of money on scallops already, and we don't profit from them necessarily, so why should I have to, my mooring's only in the water for 3 months out of the year, it shouldn't be that expensive, blah, blah, blah. So our thing is we've got to find something that's economical, that's sellable, and a way for the mooring handlers to recover it. Because one of the ones we were looking at is like an elastic band. So when you're hauling a mooring, you can put a hook into some chain and you can haul it up on deck. And then you can take another bite of chain and haul it up on deck. Well, this elastic band is just going to keep stretching and stretching and stretching and stretching. So I told the guy he needs to put some bites in it so that we can stop it. You know, we'll recover some, stop it, take another bite, stop it until we get it up off the bottom. It shouldn't be that hard to do. Like I was almost showing him how to tie the knot myself or how to splice it in there. So we're not that far from it, and I don't think it would be unreasonable to say that we wouldn't be able to find some moorings for you to present by April.
Okay, that'd be-
We're going to move forward. We know right where we want to start. We know what areas we want to start. We talked with Cormac about it. Cormac's all about it too. It's just we gotta sell it though. You know what I mean? We've got to get these people to see how it's beneficial to them and it's beneficial to all of us.
When you say the people, you mean residents?
Yes.
Yeah, not the mooring handlers, residents.
Not the mooring handlers. The
Yeah.
mooring handlers are going to go wherever their customer's going to take them.
Yeah, I think, well, let me ask the question. Is there anything we can do to help that process?
No, but when the guy comes, I'll invite you so you can understand where like the pushback is a little bit, and so you can hear the other side of the argument. I'd be more than happy to invite whoever on the board wants to come.
I'd love to do that. And I have, over the past 2 years, materials, a couple of hundred pages of materials. I don't know whether you have all of that or not. I'd be happy to. What I'll do is I will email you the titles of what the material is, and you can tell me whether you've got it or not got it. Have it.
That would be great.
Because it talks about different systems. I know there's a Hazlitt system, and yeah.
We talked to him, and we talked to like Dave Merrill is the guy's name. He's up in New Hampshire, and I think he's Eco. And he wants it bad. He wants it so bad, but he just won't make the stupid video. And I'm just like, we just make a stupid video showing how you can do it. He's like, well, I can do it with a mushroom. I said, well, show them. If
Yeah.
you show them that it can be done, they'll find a
Yeah.
way to do it.
And I think just encouragement, I certainly personally would be do everything I can do to help sell it to people through people I know and through contacts with the yacht clubs and you know other groups that have boats. I know a lot of those. A lot of those moorings are either in Children's Beach or they're not in eelgrass sensitive areas. But even in those, there are areas, and we could focus on the areas you're talking about and actually find out who they are. And I'd be happy to help you to contact them and talk to them and try to help convince them how important it is.
Because the ones where the yacht club uses itself are right on the edge of Hussey Shoal, so there's definitely eelgrass right there. So.
Well, and I think both yacht clubs have floats out there, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Let me
So,
let me start there.
yeah, because in a Great Harbor, I know, like, would work with us.
Yep.
And Charles, people would work with us. We just got to get a system, and I'll definitely.
Okay,
push.
because I think for a lot of people, I mean, the summer residents, I don't think cost will be the issue. I think you just have to convince
I'm
them.
talking to the year-rounders, like the town pier,
Yeah.
slip holders, and
Yeah,
you know, the year-rounders that
Yeah.
are here. And I mean, you can hear it, but it's like, they get, as soon as you say, but come on, you know, everybody benefits from Nantucket Bay Stalls. Everybody in one way or another does. So.
I think the summer community you can get to, if you just have to explain to them what it is. They just have to know that there's an option.
And I think part of what goes with it too is, I mean, availability is kind of the number one issue right now for something that we know can work in the system that we have when moorings have to come in and out. In some of these areas that you read press clippings from, and they send them from their areas that their moorings stay in 24/7, 365.
But they don't have scalpers dragging through there either.
Which makes it simple, but I think part of what goes with it too, and one of the reasons why we're not to the point where it's been implemented yet, is to me, an important part that goes with it is being smart about how you implement it and say, we know that these areas are habitat-sensitive areas over, an example, like some of the areas on Holbert, some of the areas over on the Monomoy shore, where it makes more sense. I mean, to tell someone that's in the middle of the mooring field to say everyone has to switch to this right now, there's nothing there. I mean, they're scouring mud.
I was focusing on the same areas you're focusing
just
on.
to go through, but it's an interesting crowd because we look through and I know I go down to the Cathcart Monomoy area a lot. Is a lot of the boats that are over there are year-round folks that live here, and that's where they go in. And Holbert Avenue is a little bit different dynamic sometimes. That you have to get a whole cross section to buy in, and I think we were, from our end, from the natural resources end, we weren't ready to say, this is where we know there are eelgrass areas, and this is a known potential impact that is seemingly easy to fix once that technology is readily available, but can still meet the requirements to be installed and removed every year, and that's been the head.
And I think one thing that we need to do is start in Monomoy, because Holbert Ave is so exposed to the weather that we really need to prove that this product is going to work, it's going to hold, it's going to withstand, so that they're not putting their 26-foot regulator out on this thing, and we're like, let's hope, So what we want to do is go to Holbert, go to our Monomoy, pick an area. This is what we had talked about. Get 50 people to volunteer to do it, and to be the test bed for it. Put it in Monomoy where it's close to shore, where chances are, if it, God forbid, broke, it's going to be right up on the beach right there. Obviously, we're not going to give them a guarantee they're going to have to deal with that with mooring handlers, but test it out there. And once we have a successful season of withstood, 40, 50 knot winds, then it's way easier for us to sell it to everybody else. And P.S., look what it's doing to the water boating, the eelgrass and all that.
Successful sell it, people will want to do it.
Yeah, everybody wants
Yeah.
to be part of it.
Yeah, if you can identify those 50 people, I'll go or help go with you, or we could have some sort of a meeting at some place, an educational meeting, and try to go from there. But thank you, I appreciate. Yeah, thank you.
I got one more thing for old business. This is a quick one. Remember we were struggling with how to keep the guano off of the town pier? I think we solved.
You are brilliant. You are brilliant.
We took fishing line and went down. We took 2x4s and stuck it on the pilings. Then we took fishing line and went down both sides. We haven't had one shell on the dock.
and nor any crap either.
No.
Sheila, you're brilliant. I come in, I couldn't believe it. I said, that's a fantastic idea. I couldn't believe it. I've never seen the dock like that before.
Yeah, so
Wow. Well, when I noticed,
we told boat basin's doing it. We're doing it. So we're moving them down to the Great Hobby Aqua.
great. Well, the largest activity that I noticed was like in end of March and beginning of April, or maybe the middle of March. But if it's working now, hopefully it works then also. That's wonderful news, Sheila. Thank you.
I think they just were getting, I'm sorry.
No.
They just getting worse and worse and worse. They just, you more and more and more were collecting on the pier, and it just got worse and worse and worse. And
Quickly on the moorings, though, I always look at Washington Street and Halbert Avenue area as having eelgrass, and when you're taking the mooring in and out every year, you mentioned earlier, Jeff, scouring just muck, but is the eelgrass area in Washington Street, is it a significant area for shellfish at a certain point in their lifespan, and then they move out to other areas, or?
Washington Street, the thing that's interesting about that is, for obviously things like clams and oysters that aren't global after their colorful stage really is probably not. That's also in an area that's closed to any shellfishing, so there's not a lot of information that's there. I would suspect that typically, I know we just got a shellfish survey in for the Petro landing project the land bank has proposed, and kind of from the fuel dock all the way in. There were 2 scallops and 2 clams and 1 oyster from the fuel dock to the beach, all the way to the edge of the town pier. I know it was less than like 7 total. So you don't typically see a lot in there. I mean, you'll see oysters on the rocks, kind of, especially on Old North Fork, pilings, and occasionally see mussels and things there. I wouldn't necessarily think that area was an overwhelmingly important area for shellfish, just because the habitat is a little bit more stressed with water quality reasons and some of the other things over there.
This is true, yeah. Bill?
Usually, though, between the town pier and the Great Harbor Yacht Club, once in a while they get a limit in there. I've seen that.
No, definitely. I mean, I'm not
Yeah.
saying that they're not present. They definitely
Right.
get in.
That's the other side. Right, there's been a lot of sand coming out off the beach. I mean, there used to be a lot of eelgrass there. It's all gone now.
Yeah. I mean, there's been a lot of shoaling that's come off. I mean, even off Monomoy between the 2 piers there. There's been a lot of sand that's moved offshore. Covered areas there. But as far as if you're going to invest the time and effort into alternative mooring technologies, that is an area that I would consider to be a priority.
Sheila?
Something else that I think people should do or consider is after we have a northeaster or an easterly storm, you should come down to the town pier because you will see piles and piles and piles of green
Right.
eelgrass.
Absolutely
Not
right.
dead.
You're absolutely
So
right.
the weather does turn up the bottom
Mhm.
just as much as the other factors, and I think sometimes that gets overlooked. But literally, we have to shovel it off the town pier after a big storm, and it's green. It's not this dead stuff that's
Mhm.
just laying around.
And that's interesting because it was 2 years ago. Remember when all the eelgrass died? It was black. But at least, I mean, this year I noticed. You're absolutely right. It's green. And so the eelgrass is being broken free, is living, and I think that's a really good sign for the harbor. That it's
Healthy eelgrass.
Yeah, the eelgrass at least is doing better than it did before. I don't know what it caused it to go or whatever happened, but yeah, man, I've seen a lot of green eelgrass. That's really encouraging.
The other guys look very good. I would agree. I've seen it.
Well, I'd still like everybody to continue to live by. I think about Jeff's opening statement at the State of the Harbor Forum that there is no silver bullet, and for taking care of the degradation in the harbor, and there's a lot of moving parts and a lot of individual things that need to be taken into consideration. So, Sheila and Jeff, thank you very much. I think we're getting near the end of Peter's capability of being here, but if we can...
Sheila, just a question.
Right.
Is email a good way to contact you?
Yeah.
Yes, and it's on the website?
It's S. Lucy
Yeah,
at police
yeah.
Nantucket
Nantucket. Yeah,
-ma.gov.
okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Bill,
Yes.
you want to start in with a little bit on
Sure,
the
sure.
local commercial fishing drag of survival? I'd love to hear.
Okay.
Yeah, all right.
Well,
Sorry, guys.
No, that's all right. For next week, though, or for the next meeting,
I think I should. Who's vice chairman? You're vice chairman.
and Heath can't make it
And you can't
either.
make it. So that makes me chairman.
And the likelihood of, I don't, Bill,
I have
can you
no
project
idea.
that far ahead?
That's 3 of us. And without Ken Coons, that's 4 of us, so that's a quorum right there. So maybe we should just shoot for the December 5th meeting.
Yeah.
I think I think it would be a lot of wasted effort to try to put together and spend a lot of time figuring out whether we can have a meeting on the 21st.
Yeah.
That's my personal feeling.
I've just begun to make a little bit of money, and so I'm very anxious to
Keep fishing.
do it. I've been like 6 months. It's the longest dry period I've ever had. It's the worst it's ever been, and that's why you haven't seen me here. I've just been going in and
No,
out
please,
trying.
Peter.
As much
Meeting
as I can.
adjourned.
So there's an excellent chance I probably wouldn't be here either.